Okay. Hi, Serena.
Hi, Sarah.
How's it going?
I'm doing awesome. Yeah, it's been a good week. I was commenting in the Facebook group. I'm working on getting to bed earlier, so I'm feeling very rejuvenated this week just from getting a few more hours of sleep. How are you? I think your Wi-Fi is frozen.
Dealing with me. Oh boy. Can
I
you hear
can't
me?
hear you now.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, this might just be our Wi-Fi story.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm good as well. Yeah, I think it's so funny that you and I are both going through this weird sleep cycle thing right now. Definitely something that we will have to talk about in the future. But I'm actually so shocked that we did not lead off with our first week in Mindful Miles talking about intuitive eating, because it is so huge. And I know it's something that has changed your life. It's something that has changed and continues to change my life. So I'm really excited that we're talking about this today. But I also think that it's perfect timing with, so for everyone that's watching right now, as you know, Serena sends weekly nutrition tips for you all. And her weekly tip goes really well with intuitive eating as well. So I think it aligns very perfectly. I think too, when we all think about intuitive eating, you say okay, I eat what I want when I want. Sure. That sounds like witchcraft though, because if I eat what I want when I want, I'm going to be the size of a balloon, or, our mind goes to all those crazy places. So let's kick it off as simple as can be. And Serena, can you tell all of us what intuitive eating is?
Yeah, totally. So you're so right. This totally aligns with this week's little nutrition tip. So intuitive eating, the way you can kind of think about it is intuitive eating is just normal eating. It's like what eating would have been like if diet culture had never messed with your brain, if your mom had never told you, hey, you can't leave the table till you finish your plate. We were all born with this intuitive ability to monitor our hunger and our fullness, and to start eating when we're hungry and to stop eating when we're full. And then it's just from life gets in the way and it messes with us. It messes with our ability to trust our body. So really, intuitive eating is literally just what normal eating would be if diet culture and these external factors didn't get in the way.
Yeah, simple as that.
Yeah.
And I think too, so for me as being a former athlete, the thought of, I was never a dieter, but for me, it was always the athlete's diet. So I can't eat X, Y, or Z if it's not going to enhance my performance, if it's not going to help me run faster. And so many people think like that too. Like, I can't have a slice of cake, maybe because I'm going to gain weight from it, or maybe because it's going to slow me down, or because sugar's so bad for me, because people always say sugar's terrible for me. But what you're doing when you tell yourself you can't have that cake is you're really making yourself want that cake more, and you're punishing yourself for it. So it's a really interesting mindset. And for those of you that have been following, Serena and I's story, we connected because the way that I view intuitive eating is the way that I view running, and same for Serena as well. Why are you going to do something if you truly don't enjoy it? So for me, I love running. I love it so much, but that doesn't mean I do it every day, because some days it's the last thing I want to do, and it's not what is healthy for me. So I think too, it's really hard, because society, as you said, tells us from a very young age, you need to be skinny, you need to love vegetables, you need to say that carbs are the devil. But that's not, that doesn't cut it anymore. So it's, it's the journey that we're all on together. For those of you that are watching, I know a lot of you watch after the fact, but you can always submit questions for us. I know we had some specific nutrition questions this week that we can get to. But Serena, I wanted to see if you had anything else that you wanted to add before we go into a little bit of Q&A.
Yeah. So, I really want you guys to kind of pause and reflect on what Sarah said, which I thought was that's like the number one concern, where people are like, oh my God, you want me to eat whatever I want? I'm going to gain all this weight. I'm never going to eat a vegetable ever again. And, I kind of want you guys to get curious about that, and that's what, I'm so sorry. That's what intuitive eating is about. Intuitive eating is about not judging your cravings, not judging your thoughts around food in your body, and instead getting curious of, hey, why do I think that? Why don't I trust my body? Where is this coming from? Is it because, my parents instilled in me at the very young age that I have to look a certain way, or my running coach in college made me feel I have to be a certain size to run fast, or, do I put this insane amount of pressure on myself? And what would happen if you kind of just like inched that back a little bit and explored listening to your body and listening to what your cravings are telling you? Because I'm telling you right now, if you're someone who feels like you're constantly on a diet, you're constantly gaining and losing weight, you're constantly belittling your body or belittling yourself, then that means intuitive eating is the solution for you. And even though right now it might feel like this very difficult realization to come to, I can tell you from doing this for years and from being an intuitive eating counselor, that you're not going to just eat cake for the rest of your life once you have permission to eat cake. It's a very cool process. There's a lot of brain chemistry that goes on. I can geek out about this for like literal days. So, I want to encourage you guys. I offered this on the last call, but I really mean it. If you want to set up a free 15-minute consult with me, I can talk very fast. We can get a lot of ground covered. Christy is taking me up on it this weekend. We're going to jump on a call. So I want you guys to really feel comfortable to email me, serena@serenamarierrd.com, tag me in the Facebook group, whatever it is. But, I'm giving you this opportunity. Let's talk for 15 minutes about what you're afraid of, exploring to intuitive eating, or whatever questions you have, right? Because it really, the reason, this literally is such a transformational experience that it bonded Sarah and I over Instagram. Like, the billions of strangers out there, I saw her approach and I was like, this is what people need, right? We need to trust our intuition. It's a very powerful concept once you become indoctrinated into it.
Exactly. And so yes, I will reiterate on that, guys. Please take Serena up on the offer, schedule some time with her. I'm telling you, it's going to be a very informative 15 minutes. She does talk fast, but she gives you a lot to think about too. And for a lot of you too that may be watching this, I know maybe intuitive eating is new to you. Maybe it's something you've never even heard of or considered before. But I do want to take a pause and take a step back and say that we're not necessarily attacking diet culture here. Some of you like to eat keto. Some of you follow, your calories and your macros and your things all along those lines. Serena knows probably way more diets and way more fads than I do. But all we're saying is it didn't work for us. We have tried that for years. And actually, I don't even want to speak for Serena here. I've tried that for years. I've tried dieting. I've tried, counting calories and putting myself in those small boxes, and it never worked for me. And I always would feel shame when I ate certain things, or I would feel like I was not worthy or less than when I had certain meals. And no one should have to live their life that way, guys. And the biggest thing for me that intuitive eating has given me is that food is not good or bad. Food is food. And so I'll even say, earlier this week, Serena and I were on a call, and I've been eating intuitively, for years now. And she called me out, and I had to think about it because we were talking, and I said, Serena, a lot of runners have been asking me lately about cereal, and I personally don't think it's bad. I like to have cereal before bed. I'll recommend it, this and that. But maybe you could just talk about if cereal's good or bad. And she said, well, Sarah, cereal's not good or bad. It's food. And if it's something that you want, then it's good. And and it's one of those things that it's constantly, I'm going to grow with it my entire life. We all are. But you have to be gentle with yourself, and you have to know that if you are new to trying out intuitive eating, you might binge for a little bit. You might have a ton of cake, a ton of cereal, a ton of anything, because you are the kid in the playground right now, and you're telling yourself there are no restrictions, and you have to be okay with that. You just have to say, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to let myself have what it wants, and I trust that in time my body is going to tell me what it needs, because I promise it works. Serena posted something on her Facebook group today. And again, I can link it if you guys want to join her group. It's really phenomenal. But she said something along the lines of like, what foods do you crave? I crave chocolate and broccoli. And this time last year, I'd been like, okay, I know you're lying, because who craves broccoli? But it's so good. I love veggies now. And I'm like, anytime someone told me that, I was like, you can't be trusted, because you're clearly a liar. Who says they love veggies? But I mean, I'm getting off on a tangent now, but it's so true. You really give yourself the space to just kind of go all in and trust that your body is going to tell you what it needs. And when you hit that judgment zone, if you hit that judgment zone, just try to reframe your thoughts. Try to think, why am I being so hard on myself right now? What am I feeling? And really think about it almost like from a place of curiosity, like what's happening right now? And again, like Serena's the expert here, but that's just a little bit from my personal experience with it.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool to have like a non-expert opinion here, and like insight, not opinion, because I think it's beautiful. You don't have to be a dietitian who studied nutrition and brain science to master this, because Sarah's saying, all the stuff I would say, and I've trained in it. So yeah, I love your point of like, no, we're not attacking diet culture, and intuitive eating is a very non-judgmental space. And when I work with athletes, I have athletes that they want to use MyFitnessPal, they want to count macros, and I give people tools, and my clients dictate how we use them. But these clients that are using MyFitnessPal, they're working with me, right? So we're still focusing on mindfulness. We're still focusing on reflecting how food makes us feel. We're still reflecting on honoring our hunger. So even if you're someone who's like diehard keto, like there are principles of intuitive eating that are going to make you feel more at peace with whatever way you want to eat. And, same rules as like Sarah's running club, which I adore. Like there's no judgment, right? It's all inclusive. Like that's the same in my nutrition practice. Like it's no judgment. My clients tell me the craziest things that come into their mind, right? And we just sit with it and we say, okay, well, what does that mean? How do we work with this, right? Because the only diet that's going to work is something that you're on board with and that makes you feel good and that feels good in your body. So who am I, who is Sarah to tell you about your body? We can't. We have to just sit here and listen and teach you how to listen so that you can make the best, most informed choices for your body.
Yes, preach. That's, and that's what it's all about. We're never going to tell you, you have to eat this many calories, you have to run this many miles, because if you don't, you will be X, Y, or Z. We're here to support you and say, okay, when you ate that many calories, when you ran that many miles, how did you feel? Did you feel empowered? Then yes, let's figure out how you can do more of that. And if you didn't, let's figure out why you didn't. But I do have a very funny story that I have to share with you.
Yeah,
so I'm away for the weekend. I'm taking a long weekend, and we drove out. I live in New York. We drove to Virginia, and we stopped at a McDonald's on the way down. And I never eat fast food just because I don't really crave it that much. But we didn't pack food, and so I said, okay, let's stop at McDonald's. And I ordered chicken nuggets, French fries, and a McFlurry. The past me would have been like, oh, I'm going to order it because I'm skinny and this is great. And then as I would eat it, I'd be like, oh, I'm fat. I can't believe I did this. What's wrong with me? This is so unhealthy. And guys, it happens a lot with running. We don't talk about it enough with nutrition, but there are milestones that you hit when it comes to your running and your nutrition that should be celebrated. And so for me, I had one today where again, this is perfect timing back to Serena's Instagram, if you guys follow her, where she was talking about the little kid, exactly like 2 or 3 times, half of my fry. And I said, okay, I'm like, this doesn't really fulfill me. It was good when it lasted, and now I'll just throw it out. But there was judgment. And I think too, I was telling myself, I can have this whenever I want. Whereas in the past, it was like, this is only a road trip. It's a special occasion. I have to eat all of it. I have to binge. I have to hold. Whereas now, I want French fries, I go find them. I'm heart content, and that's it. I think too, when you're doing that, really think about, okay, I enjoy this. I can have it as often as I want. It's up to me to say when to stop and when to go. So that's my win for the week.
That is a massive milestone, and I am extremely proud of you. And that's what freedom feels like, right? Is not having guilt, not feeling like the food is in control of you. Sarah was in control of that experience, right? Sarah enjoyed every bite, and when she was full and the food was no longer as delicious, because food is yummier when we're hungry, she stepped away from it, and she's like, hey, if I want McDonald's again tomorrow, I'll just get more, right? And that's intuitivity. Exactly. The best feeling in the world.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't follow Serena, I'm sure you're able to figure out what the moral of that story was. But Serena, for those of you that for those that do not follow you, can you tell us what the chicken nugget story is?
Yes. So our goal, I mean, my joke with my clients now is we want to be a chicken nug kid. And I told this story in my Facebook community yesterday, but basically I was on the subway pre-COVID, and this little kid was eating McDonald's, and his mom was like giving him chicken nuggets and French fries out of a bag. And I'm watching this kid, and he's eating this chicken nugget, and he's, eating it slowly. And then he takes, like, he's halfway through that tiny little chicken nugget, and he just like throws it on the ground, like he's done eating. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, like if I was in the middle of a chicken nugget, I would have just finished it, right? Like it's a half a chicken nugget. And then the mom offers him a fry, and he's like, no, I don't want it anymore. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is McDonald's, which is like a highly palatable, delicious food. It smells so good, right? And this kid gets full, and he's like, no, Mom, I'm done eating. And I'm just thinking, this is what we were all born with, is this, internal ability to stop eating when we're full, even if the food is McDonald's and chocolate cake or whatever food you think as this, like, addictive food that people say food's addictive. It's not addictive. We were born with this ability to self-regulate our fullness. So I strive to be a chicken nug kid, where I can stop eating mid-chicken nugget and say, hey, I'm full. If I want the other half of that chicken nugget, I'll eat it again tomorrow when I'm hungry. So that's the story of the chicken nugget kid.
Amen. Awesome. Okay, we do have some people that sent in questions earlier this week. For those of you that are watching, if you have questions, feel free to drop them. It can be about intuitive eating, but it does not have to be. So running questions, nutrition questions, you've got us here, so we're happy to answer them. But let's start. So I sent in a question. She said, should you eat a big meal right after a run or just a snack?
So you, again, can kind of go back to your hunger and fullness cues, right? If you're really hungry, then you can totally have a bigger meal, and you eat the amount you need to feel full. A lot of times in the summer, especially when it's really hot or after a really hard workout or a long run, our appetite is decreased. And this is not because your body doesn't need food, but it's because when we're working out really hard or in the heat, our body gets really stressed out. And that's our sympathetic nervous system gets activated. Now, if you guys think about your nervous system, when we evolved a billion years ago, our sympathetic nervous system is our flight or fight mode. That evolved so that if a lion was chasing us, we would run away. And it wouldn't make any sense to get hungry in the middle of a lion chasing you, because if you stopped to eat some berries, the lion would eat you. So you can almost think of it as, if I'm done with my long run and I don't feel any hunger, it's just because my body is very stressed out right now. So I need to make sure to have something. And that's when a snack would be good, right? A smoothie is especially good when you're not actually hungry. So making yourself a snack or a smoothie with a good amount of protein and paired with carbohydrate is a good snack. Or if that needs to be a meal form because you're hungry, then that's good too.
Yeah, and I think too with that, sometimes it is very tough because regardless of if it's hot out, sometimes after a run, I know that I need to eat something, but I just, a lot of people say, like, after runs, I'm either ravenous or I can't even look at food. My stomach is so sensitive. So for those people that know they have to get something down, aside from smoothies, do you have any other tips? Do you say like try to get a bar in, or do you just say wait for your hunger to come back?
So don't wait for your hunger, right? So it's funny because intuitive eating sounds really simple, right? But it's not, because a lot of intuitive eating is self-care. And when you combine it with sports nutrition, which is my specialty, intuitive eating plus sports nutrition, you need to know the sports nutrition too. So we put our self-care hat on and we say our body needs to be taken care of right now. It doesn't know it's hungry, but it is, right? So you eat whatever you can tolerate, right? So the reason I recommend smoothies is because when you're not truly hungry, liquid just is easier. It passes through the digestive system easier. So something like broth with some white rice, like some bone broth that has protein, that would be a good snack. Something liquidy like cereal or oatmeal, with some milk or some Greek yogurt. So that way you're getting some good protein with your carbohydrate. That could be a good snack. But absolutely, if you just want to have a protein bar and that's pretty small and you can manage to get that down, as long as it's a choice with protein and carbohydrate, that can also totally be an acceptable idea as well. Sarah froze, but hopefully she unfreezes soon. Uh-oh. Okay. Sarah actually texted me the other question. So let me just look at my phone because I have it saved here. Let's see, where is it? Sarah texted me. So the other question is, what are some healthy dinner options the night before a long run? So there is some science behind having a carb-rich meal the night before a long run. And I'm just going to text Sarah back.
Okay, I'm back.
I was texting you. I was answering that second question you had texted me.
Just had to take a quick nap. Perfect.
Yeah. So Sarah had texted me, what are some healthy dinner options the night before a long run? So really, I think this question is probably considering carb loading. So there is science to carb loading. It's a little bit more detailed than just like having a bowl of pasta the night before. It really should be something that you're kind of thinking about for 48 to 72 hours before your long run or your race, where you are reducing your protein and your fat amount and you're eating simple to digest carbs with not a lot of fiber. That said, if you're just like, Serena, I don't want carb load, I just want to know what to have the night before a long run or a hard workout, definitely having something with more carbohydrates will be beneficial. But you don't necessarily need to carb load. So just maybe having like an extra serving of pasta and then a little bit less of protein, right? You don't need to like be super full when you leave the table. It just might be that you have a little less of something else to make a little bit more room for the carbohydrate. And that's usually what I call the performance plate. And, that's a good rule of thumb for most of your active days is you want to make sure you're getting enough carb on that plate to support your performance. Do you have any ideas, Sarah, as well?
I missed everything that you just said.
Okay.
Give me a 10-second recap and I will jump in if I have anything.
Yeah, I just was encouraging people to have carbohydrate the night before a long run or a hard workout on their plate with protein and fat, but a good amount of carbohydrate because that's where you're going to get your energy.
Absolutely. I am the self-proclaimed carb queen at this time in my life. Carbs are queen, guys. Please do not shy away from them. I think too, if you're not eating a lot of carbs before your run, you may not notice how tired you are. But if you start to incorporate carbs before your runs, you're going to notice how much more energy you have. So it's one of those things like, oh, I didn't realize how tired I was because I thought that was normal. But then once you give, your body the nutrition it needs, you automatically have energy. You don't know where it came from, but you know that you can't do without it. So, it's trial and error. A lot of people just like to go to pasta because it's very quick and very easy. But I mean, there's a ton of other options you can look at too, but pasta is always a great place to start.
Yeah. Pasta is my fave. I'm actually Italian despite the freckles and the red hair, so pasta for sure.
Same. Awesome. Great. So I think this is all we've got today. I hope that the connection came through on everyone else's end all right. As always, message us if you have any questions. I'm at Mindful Miles Sarah. You can find Serena at Serena Marie RD. Seriously, guys, take her up on her offer. Get on a quick call with her. Regardless of what you do, don't eat, I'm sure that she will be able to give you some really helpful tips and send you in the right direction. But as we wrap up week 2, I hope you guys are all feeling very inspired, very motivated. I hope that you are all battling that sun. I know it's been tough. It's got to break at some point, right? I'm telling myself, like, man, in the fall we are all going so fast because we're just putting up with it right now. So we're dealing with it. Again, pay attention to your pace. Just go based off feel. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're in shade whenever you can get a chance to. And as always, reach out to me if you have any questions when it comes to your training. You can talk to me about nutrition, but why would you when we have Serena right here? So yes, have a great week, guys, and I look forward to chatting with you all next week.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Sarah.
All right, bye.